Hi Pisces, welcome to your April 2020 astrology, horoscope and tarot. I hope you're doing very well. We'll steer away from the most obvious topic of conversation because astrology is astrology, no matter where you are situated. But what is interesting for you Pisces is that Venus enters Gemini on the 3rd, and because of a retrograde motion in May on the 13th, it is actually going to remain in Gemini right up until the 7th of August. And you might be wondering, okay, Venus in the 4th house, that sounds kind of dull. Please remember that most of the world, not all, but most of the world is actually under some sort of imposed lockdown or self-isolation, quarantine. So to have such a strong presence as Venus, such a benefic, by the way, in the 4th house, is actually going to be in your favor. The key aspects of the world that we think slow down, such as romance and love, don't necessarily have to. Connection doesn't necessarily have to slow down. Venus being in here for you, Pisces, is going to bless your love in a sense of security. It's going to ask you to evaluate maybe what even your family dynamics are and how they play a part in your romantic life. Perhaps you finally decide in this quarantine that it is time that you and a partner moved in together. Perhaps it is time you bought a house. Perhaps it is time that you connected with somebody that you're closely linked to from the past. Perhaps a friend, perhaps yet you feel restricted. I understand that dynamic, but what I'm getting to with this, Pisces, is that just because you're homebound, just because you feel restricted at the minute, it's actually all quite mental. Especially if you're single, wondering what is going to happen with your life, the Tower. This has come as an awakening for you because it's making you realize what false foundations you have been building on. Again, that presence of the number 4, 4th house, 2020 being a 4 year. The new moons this year have all been at 4 degrees, and here we go. Here is what we were getting to. The Star, the 6 of Cups, the Lovers, and the Hierophant. This is exactly where we were going. So, you may have been building many things in your life on false foundations. And Saturn and Pluto conjunct in January showed you just what in your life was no longer working, what had to go, what had to be pulled apart, and some of it, believe it or not, could very well come back together. But the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that occurs on the 4th of April, again, we're getting into this 4 energy, if you could just feel it for a second, is very patient. The Jupiter conjunct Pluto aspect in Capricorn occurs on April 4th, June 30th, and November 12th. Good idea to have those dates memorized in your diary. Coincidentally, the June 30th and November 12th will both happen when the Sun is in a water sign. This is currently fire sign, but the next two will be in your fellow water signs, Cancer and Scorpio. When the Sun is there, is what I mean. Currently, the Sun in Aries is giving you a real sense of your self-worth. Mercury will shift from your sign into Aries on the 11th, and when it gets to Aries, it feels a lot more comfortable in Aries. It takes a bit of a pressure off the dreams that you've been having, but it will indeed put a big spin on the way that you communicate what it is that you think about money. Because the thing is, Pisces, I'm not to overhype the Star card because it's actually not possible, but a lot of the time I think people take a real heavy look at astrology, and sometimes quite a heavy look anyway. But with Jupiter and Pluto being in the 11th house, your wish fulfillment house, the house that actually rules Aquarius, first and foremost, Saturn, that wishing aspect that occurred back in January, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in that area, you may have thought, but I had this dream, I had this wish, and it all absolutely crumbled. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Things weren't healing the way I wanted them to heal. My life dynamic was still in this kind of chaos, and I really don't understand why you're talking about there being this wish fulfillment aspect of 2020 that you keep referring to. It's starting to annoy me. Okay, I understand that, but the Star, the Six of Cups, the Lovers, and the Hierophant, if your wish, Pisces, honestly, if your wish is for romance, it is actually, and you feel like you can't see it just yet in the way that you want to see it, which is this Hierophant energy. You want to see this kind of commitment, this stability, or even if you're in a relationship and you don't feel this feeling, you know what I mean? You're looking for something bigger. You're looking for something more ideal. It is so close that you could literally, if you tapped into the energies, you could really feel it. Even if you can't see the tangible of it, or you feel incredibly isolated and you feel like the path you were going on, maybe for some of you, you felt, I was so close to getting this person, or I was so close to dating this person, or I was so close to this commitment, and now I feel so far away. It's actually all aligned quite perfectly. Jupiter, the planet of wish fulfillment in your wish fulfillment sector, conjunct Pluto, the transformative master of the underworld, is literally possibly, well, it's literally going to bring love to you, but possibly Pisces through your resurrection. The key person in your life could very well be in your past. It doesn't have to be. It can actually be someone who really, really, really closely resembles somebody that you loved before. Be it by name, be it by face, be it by profession, whatever it is, love is so close to you, Pisces. And the Six of Cups rules the home. 11th house is about online communication. If you hear from somebody that you really, really, really want to hear from online, this could get very, very serious. With Venus in Gemini, this could get very serious. This could be somebody who in the next year you live with, you marry. Love is looking actually incredible. So, but you're still in that Tower moment on the Eight of Swords where you feel a little bit like things just aren't working out the way I expected them to in all areas. Well, it's not working out for anybody the way they expected it to. But what are you passionate about, by the way? What do you love so much? The full moon in Libra on the 7th occurs while Mars is in your 12th house, aggressively asking you to interpret your dreams, interpret your psychic powers, feel more in touch with the divine, more connected to things like astrology. Because if you're a Pisces, no matter who you are, you could be the burliest of males. You could be a professional athlete, you could be, I don't know what's masculine, a wood chopper, I don't know. You could be any of these things, Pisces, but you are still a sensitive spirit that is very psychic. Very psychic. And with Mars in your psychic sector, squaring off with Uranus in your communication sector, on the day of a full moon in Libra, which is a lot to do with how you work, your habits. Maybe your body starts telling you something. Maybe your body starts telling you, Ace of Cups, maybe you start crying horrendously, and you need to let it all out. Again, even if you're the burliest of males, that is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength, it's a sign that you are a psychic sponge, and every so often you need rinsed out. That is okay. There is a new moon in Taurus on the 22nd of April, 3 days, before Pluto goes retrograde in your wish fulfillment sector, and again wants to pull your focus right back to the things that you're so passionate about, that you're so invested in, that you really, really, really want from your life, the dreams that you have, the things that you really see for yourself. And again, Death card, Ace of Swords, Pluto retrograding will bring you awareness of what it is in your life that you could really pick up again and resurrect, be it love, be it career, be it a talent, be it a hobby, be it a friendship, whatever it is that needs to be resurrected, Pisces will resurrect. April 26th, Sun conjuncts Uranus in your 3rd house, 3 of Wands. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. The cards are just so in sync today with what's going on. It will put your focus on the future and the way that you want to move forward. It will also give you a little insight. Flashes of genius are very associated with Uranus. A little insight, Pisces, into what is to come in terms of what it is that's coming in for you. This is the Merchant's card. He's letting his ships come in and he's waiting to see what they bring him. He probably has a fair idea. Maybe a little bit indecisive about it. 2 of Swords, having to make a decision. not quite understanding that everything is occurring in a way that makes sense. And if he would only tap into, I saw that, judgment. If he would only tap into the energies of 2020 and realize that the big things are occurring the way they are because people have been thinking small. And the people that have been thinking big are actually still thinking big, and the people that are meant to think big but have been thinking small are getting a very big awakening. And do you know what, Pisces? Sometimes in life, opportunities arise that we miss because we're not ready yet. And sometimes, if we're lucky enough, they come back around. And sometimes we have our true authentic self. Our soul purpose is apparent to us when we're a teenager, but then life gets in the way. I was thinking the other day about how much, whenever I was a teenager, my real self was actually so formed. I would write poetry, I would write songs, I would sing, I would study astrology until I was blue in the face. I started astrology studying when I was 8. I think I had my birth chart whenever I was 8. Really invested in it. And I, throughout my adult life, went on to, and this is not about me, but I'm just giving you, I'm a Pisces rising, you see, went on to study law and do all these things that were just so, I think, what I thought I should be doing based on certain things. And I found that as I approached my Saturn return, when Saturn was in my 12th house, which is the Pisces house, I really reinvested in all the things that I actually was. Writing, singing, songwriting, astrology, tarot, all of these things. And it's about getting back to who you really are, or who you saw yourself to be. And for a lot of Pisces, because you're so soft in spirit, so sensitive, so soulful, you can get so lost in the rat race. You can get so lost in other people's energies, and you're such a sponge for other people that sometimes if you give in and let other people in your life that are really toxic and really negative, you can become that kind of person through osmosis. I see this a lot with male Pisceans and the friendships that they keep. Male Pisceans oftentimes do better with female friendships because there's more of an understanding there. And female Pisces oftentimes so strongly need that friend who's very grounded, very methodical. It's why you often see a lot of water signs friends with fire signs or air signs or earth signs that are so different in their approach to human nature. Not completely different, but very different. And we have a very watery energy going on here with the Ace of Cups and the Death card and the Six of Cups and even the Star and Judgment. Very watery energy. In fact, even underneath we have Temperance. And in this healing energy of Temperance lies the beginning of the Fool, this new start. And what is in that new start is the Empress, it's motherhood, it's children, it is abundance, and Knight of Cups, it is love, and Two of Cups, it is reciprocated love. See? And then even under that we have the Eight of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. Financial abundance, prosperity, family. All these beautiful, beautiful things that are actually lining up for you as we go through the seasons. We had Sagittarius season that really, as we led to Capricorn season, had a big shift for you, Pisces, and you were asked to go on some kind of new adventure. By Taurus season, you're very sure of what path that actually is. And as the planets start to move into Taurus, possibly with Venus in Taurus, possibly going forward, love becomes so much stronger and more reciprocated, and if you are looking for love, it comes in pretty quick leading up to Taurus season. And if you're looking for the kind of love that is stable and long-lasting, here it is. But perhaps the person that you're meant to be with is in some way, Pisces, connected to your past. And I don't necessarily, again, mean that it's somebody returning from the past. I think for a lot of you, it actually is. But it could be that it's someone who resembles them so closely. The Six of Cups and the Lovers is a soulmate connection. Something that you've really wished for. And perhaps for some of you, that Tower moment is the awful realization that it's not the person that you're with and that you're in love with somebody else. That's unfortunate. Not necessarily the case. For a lot of you, it could be reigniting that passion or realizing the person that you're with who has been a slow burn is actually the one for you. Very romantic, it's very strong. Venus in Gemini is really going to throw you through the ringer in terms of figuring out this love stuff, but it's for a good reason. Now, is there anything else we have to cover? Because I've really gone straight in there. April 14th, the Sun in Aries squares Pluto in Capricorn. In terms of your finances, Pisces, you need to stop spending because either you don't feel like you look a certain way or that you feel like you should have a certain amount of money in the bank to determine your worth. You need to have some very big, tough conversations with yourself about money and figure out a way to spend less. If you're in the unfortunate position financially where things have really taken a turn, I think on April 14th, you're going to have a real, and I think this is maybe what this is, a real moment of loss and upset. But do not worry, because in the next 3 months, I think you find yourself more indulged in contentment with your career path rather than money. I find you engaging in your talents and realizing that that's actually the path to prosperity for you, is by being creative. There is no better time to be creative, Pisces. And don't forget, as we head towards Taurus season, past Taurus season to Cancer season, you're financially looking in a much, much better shape. By June 30th, the next Jupiter conjunction with Pluto, you're going to be in much better financial shape, dare I say, able to bail somebody else out if somebody else has bailed you out. More connected, more passionate, and quite possibly working alone. Quite possibly, for a lot of you, self-employed, freelance, whatever it is that looks like. It all begins to take form, and you, Pisces, understand more than anybody that the whole world exists more in our hearts and our souls than it does in terms of our checkbooks, but you can get lost in that too. You can get lost in that idea that you are what you earn. And a lot of the times when Pisces gets invested in that, they get a very, very sharp awakening from their ruler Neptune that shows them it's all an illusion. Okay? The last 2 months have been pretty interesting for Pisces, but Aries season is actually where things start to line up. I know that's confusing, but you've had a lot of soul searching to do, and this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction marks a big turning point for everybody. But if you're a Pisces that has heavy Aquarian transits in your chart, if you have your natal planets in Aquarius, particularly if they're in the first 3 degrees or so, just be careful at the very start of the month. Actually, particularly as I'm doing this, I'm going to be posting this. I think it's, I don't even know what day it is. Is it the 29th? Yeah, this is 29th. I have no idea what day it is. The next few days, Pisces, just lie low in terms of arguments, in terms of machinery, in terms of any of that stuff. Just lie low. Just breathe. Don't say anything that you'll learn to regret later. Okay? Let's get straight into the extended reading, because this love situation is looking incredibly good, incredibly interesting. And then we have the Death card, and we need to acknowledge what it is that you need to shed in order to have this clarity, this prosperity, this movement forward. Because if you don't get it the first time, it will only come around again. The big shapes and shifts in your life are actually asking you to be clear. And if you don't embrace the Ace of Swords energy and you see the good things coming in and you just get defensive and blocked again with the Two of Swords, you're going to go through the same life-shattering vibe again. But we don't need to do that. Let's get into the extended. Bye, Pisces.